Hi, this is Heather, and together we are going to use Gemini, an AI tool, to create search terms to help us search databases and other places for sources for our research project. So our research project is we will be writing a paper about how does cyberbullying affect teens. We are going to use Gemini to help create the search terms. So here we are on Gemini. We are on, we can get here through gemini.google.com, or it is also available through your Jagmail. We're going to use Gemini because we have an institutional access through USA, so it gives us some kind of security and also more access for free. We're going to create a gem. A gem is just a very specific limited chatbot. So for here, we're going to create a new gem, and then we'll give it specifics for how that gem should behave. So I'm going to name my gembot, and after that I'm going to put in the instructions the specific context that it needs to know what kind of chatbot it's supposed to act like. So in the first place, I'm going to be telling the chatbot that it is an expert in psychology and sociology. I want it to be an expert so that it is the chatbot is giving me support and giving me suggestions for what to do. It is supposed to be the expert in this situation. That is called the persona. The next part is that it needs to know its task. What is the point of this chatbot? What is it meant to do? So we need to explain that the chatbot is supposed to help me create a search strategy for finding my search terms, for helping me find my sources that I need to be able to do my paper. My paper is actually the context. So we gave the gembot its persona and we gave it the specific task that it should be doing. It also needs to know the context of what is its work part of. So its work is part of me writing a research paper. So with this idea, with the persona, with the task, and with the context, the chatbot now knows more about the role it is supposed to perform to help me. So this is a chatbot. I've created the environment that I want. Next, I need to actually give the chatbot a prompt so it'll be able to perform the task for me. So in my prompt, this is where I give it information about specifically who I am. In this case, I am a first-year student who is in a sociology class. I also say again about the paper, the point of the task that I'm going to ask the chatbot to complete, and then I will also give the chatbot what my actual research question is. With this context, then it'll be able to give me an output that should hopefully fit my needs. I also need to be able to tell the chatbot what kind of format I want its response to be in. So for me, I can tell it that I want 15 different search terms, and that I want those terms in a bulleted list. This just helps it create something that is useful for me. And so we can see that it helps us with giving us some types of terms. What I would want to do is I would want to be able to use an actual database. So I'm going to pull up a database. And I can test out to see what kind of keywords work and what comes up. So in this case, is electronic aggression actually used in any papers? Then I can go electronic aggression, and I can just see, feel out what's happening. So there actually is electronic aggression used in some of these titles, and there actually is also a range in the dates of when it was published. So I have 2023, I also have 2013. One of the things that is always good to check is, so Gemini has access to the language learning model that it pulls words from, but it isn't going to have the same context for making sure that things make sense or that things are very relevant and very recent. So it's always good for you to look at what has been pulled and interpret it in a way that you make sure that it actually works for what you want to look at. One of the things that you can also think about is the ideas of it gives me these suggestions, and it does suggest some specific forms of harm. So it gives me these categories of types of search terms to think about. So I could also think of, well, what are other specific forms of harm that could be caused by cyberbullying? Or I can think of what are other sociological and environmental factors. So it tells me some things about the social context of bullying, but it doesn't tell me anything about specific, like different social groups, how different social groups interact. It doesn't really give me that kind of, it's omitting that kind of context. And from that, we also have psychological impacts, so I can think of more psychological impacts. Another thing that I can do that I can build off of, so I can use their suggestions. I can also use their like kind of like format of how they group things together to think of more things that fit that kind of heading. So this is one of the ways to be able to like work forward. One other things down here is that we actually do have access to all of these databases that it's talking about. JSTOR is generally not the best place to go if you want super like up-to-date information, because JSTOR indexes things that are like at least 3 years old. So that's another thing when it comes to Gemini can help, and it can help especially when it comes to like providing and suggesting words, very like simple tasks like that. But when it comes to understanding the like entire research like landscape, it will do things like, just recommend JSTOR as one of the first places to go, even though that's not always the best place to go, especially if you want something related to technology where you would want things more recent than 3 years ago. To wrap things up, you can use Gemini to make a gem to help you with your research project. Gemini is good at suggesting particular keywords. You need to give Gemini full context on who it should be, who you are, and what you want to do.